The cursed village of Asha. In the depths of rural India, nestled between the whispering pines and the murmuring streams, lay the village of Asha. It was a place where time stood still, where the villagers lived in harmony with nature, and where the air was sweet with the scent of blooming flowers. Or so it seemed. Asha was a village shrouded in mystery, a place where the villagers kept to themselves, speaking in hushed tones about the strange happenings that occurred there. They whispered of a curse that had befallen the village, a curse that had turned their lives into a living nightmare. Dr. Maya, a young and ambitious anthropologist, had always been fascinated by the stories of Asha. She had heard tales of the village's eerie atmosphere, of the ghostly apparitions that roamed the streets at night, and of the people who had gone missing, never to be seen again. Determined to uncover the truth, Maya packed her bags and set off for Asha. The journey was arduous, the roads winding and narrow, the trees looming overhead like skeletal fingers. As she approached the village, she felt an unsettling sense of unease, as if she was being watched by unseen eyes. The villagers greeted Maya with a mixture of suspicion and curiosity. They were a tight-lipped bunch, reluctant to speak about the strange occurrences that had plagued their village. But Maya was persistent, and slowly she began to gain their trust. It started with small things, strange noises in the night, doors opening and closing on their own, and an unshakable feeling of being watched. But as the days went by, the occurrences grew more frequent and more intense. Maya began to experience vivid nightmares, the images haunting her waking hours. One night, Maya awoke to find herself surrounded by an eerie, pulsating glow. The air was thick with an otherworldly energy, and she could feel the presence of something malevolent lurking just beyond the edge of perception. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. Maya was paralyzed with fear, unable to move or speak. And then she heard it, a low, ghoulish whisper, speaking her name. Maya, come to the forest, come to the heart of Asha. The voice was like a cold wind, sending shivers down her spine. Maya knew she had to get out of the village, but her legs seemed rooted to the spot. The whisper grew louder, more insistent, until it was a scream echoing through her mind. And then everything went black. When Maya came to, she was lying on the forest floor, surrounded by the eerie silence of the trees. She stumbled back to the village, her mind reeling with questions. What had happened? What had she seen? The villagers were waiting for her, their eyes gleaming with a malevolent light. "You've been warned," they whispered, their voices like a snake slithering through the grass. Maya knew she had to escape, but as she turned to flee, she saw something that made her blood run cold. The villagers were changing, their faces twisting and contorting, their eyes turning into black, soulless orbs. Asha was not a village. It was a gateway to hell. Maya ran, the villagers hot on her heels, their ghoulish cries echoing through the forest. She stumbled and fell, the darkness closing in around her like a shroud. And in that moment, she realized the truth. Asha was not a village. It was a prison, a place where the cursed were sent to rot. The last thing Maya saw was the twisted, inhuman face of the village elder, his eyes blazing with an otherworldly fury. "Welcome to Asha," he whispered, his voice like a cold wind. "You'll never leave." The end. How's that? Want any changes or a different story?